All right, Kings. Yeah, I guess it's our turn to talk Rebel Moon. It looks like it's been making the rounds pretty good all over YouTube. I've been watching stuff the last couple of days. Movie came out a few days ago in the week, but I think we're going to take a poke at this. I've been looking forward to this for a while because I was just ready for some new sci-fi. Like I think I'm kind of just I'm over superhero
Definitely.
stuff. I think I'm over fantasy stuff because we kind of gluttoned on it a little bit. We covered a lot of stuff just through November and December. So sci-fi, I was hoping to get some space opera stuff and wanted to sink my teeth into something new. We got Rebel Moon. Zack Snyder. I'm hit or miss with his likings. I don't know how you interact with his movies in general, like 300, Sucker Punch, things like that.
Yeah, there's certain ones you liked, and there's certain ones that are
Mm-hmm.
like, okay.
Yep.
I mean, is not also not, he's not as like a visionary director like a Christopher Nolan either.
Right. Yeah, I think he's good with the visuals, weaker on the storytelling and the character development kind of stuff. But he definitely has a unique style to how things are shot. He's definitely a slow-mo fan. I mean, they're going to talk about that, I'm sure, in the next couple of minutes with Rebel Moon. But you want to give me, I know you've got a hot take on Rebel Moon. Do you want to do a quick take on Rebel Moon first, just your overall impression?
All right, so like you, I was very excited about this movie because it was something new. It was supposed to layer a little bit of space opera with sci-fi military, which I'm a big fan
Yeah,
of military sci-fi books and stuff like that. Stuff like Galaxy's Edge and stuff like that, in book
sure.
wise. So I was looking forward to it, and then when I found out that Zachary Snyder, this was supposed to be the sequel trilogy for Star Wars, but he got fired before it even was started. And he's like, fine, I'll make my own universe and everything. I was a little excited to see what he could do with it because, yeah, 300, great movie. I did
Yep.
like the Schneiderverse in the DC
Mhm.
EU
Yep.
at times. So I wanted to see what he could do. And, yeah, I went into it with a little bit of excitement, a little bit of expectation. And as you know, when you go into something with
And
expectations,
here we go.
sometimes it doesn't deliver.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't
Yeah.
deliver.
So this is one of those times. Okay. Yeah.
It it's an okay movie. I think because of movie making with such a low bar right now
Yep.
that it would be considered a fine movie for today. But if you look at the
Yeah.
overall work of sci-fi, it doesn't even rank towards what we
Oh
would
no.
consider what I consider a good movie.
Yeah.
But by today's standard and what's being released, it would be a good movie for today. I mean, you kind of have to comp it with the creator and stuff like that.
I've seen that connection made a lot in the last couple of days where people I think there's such a hunger for new sci-fi adjacent or sci-fi light I've seen as a label or a category being thrown around. I think you're right. I think that would fit into that for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, the plot has been used over and over and over again. And
Yeah. We're gonna
after
talk
watching
about
it,
that.
I went to a movie the day after, and I'm sitting there thinking about it, getting prepared for doing recording this with you,
Yeah.
and I'm there thinking, and I'm like, oh no, it's this movie. And ever since I thought about that, I cannot not see it. And if you want to know what movie it is, it's A Bug's Life.
Okay. Now,
You have
total
the
disclosure, I've never seen A Bug's Life. It was
right.
not
So
one of the ones I was expecting you to say. I was expecting all the other grown-up tie-ins that I'm going to
no,
mention myself then.
it's 100% A Bug's Life because you
Oh
have the
Jesus.
grasshoppers who show up and steal the food, and then you have Flick who shows up who's trying to save them from the grasshoppers. So he goes finds warrior bugs who don't really do much except come up with a plan to try to scare away the grasshoppers. And then the grasshoppers show up, and there's a birding, flying thing, spaceship, bird. It's A Bug's Life.
I'm
And I
leaving.
think part two is going to hit that second part of A Bug's Life, where they start building the defenses for the farm, which the
Oh,
ant, the colony. So, ladies and gentlemen, Rebel Moon is a sci-fi version of A Bug's Life.
dude, I have to remove like 4 points from like the -8 I was going to give this movie anyway, just because I wasn't expecting it to be that. So like, you know how like Avatar gets dumped on for being Fern Gully in space. Apparently this is A Bug's Life in space. That's the King Z connection. You heard it, people. This is the King Z connection for the day. Rebel Moon is in fact not a Star Wars ripoff. It's not an Avengers Endgame ripoff. It's not a Seven Samurai ripoff. It's not a Magnificent Seven ripoff. It's not a Battle Beyond the Stars ripoff. It's not a Matrix ripoff. It is, in fact, a Bug's Life ripoff. I think I got the main five. That instant, it beamed into my mind like almost instantly. By about the halfway point, I'm like, "Yep, dude, it's a healthy heaping of every other movie you've ever seen." Probably near the top of a genre. Like you can name something from every genre that covers that. I just gave you westerns, samurai movies, sci-fi stuff. This movie, this is Zack Snyder, dude. This is what he does. Like,
yeah,
I think he's just a fan. I don't think it's on purpose or in a cynical, evil, cheating way. I think like this dude just loves movies so much that he's seen or grew up with or that he's connected to. I don't think he can help himself but to like by osmosis or whatever the right word would be, just incorporate not necessarily just like the themes, because themes are universal. All of the stuff you and I write collaboratively, individually, nothing's 100% original, 4 billion years into human history. That's just not how it is. The hero's journey is the hero's journey.
It's the character itself, and the change in that story is about the only original you can really do, because there are certain story beats in every story. Now you can change it up, you can
fresh spin,
yeah,
right.
But it's usually the same type of story beats. You have like this one, you have the
dude, it's a long list.
It's a long list. I mean, first off, you have the banished warrior, lost their honor.
One.
You have the defenseless village against the big
not empire.
Yeah,
not non-empire.
Yeah, homeworld.
Yep.
Then you have the creating the party where you have to go get all your warrior bugs.
Dude, the worst part about that, right? And we'll talk general plot in just a second. I just want to get this one out of the way. I'll say this. The first 10 minutes I thought were really good. And I was like, okay, I'm down. All right, this is kind of cool. It doesn't have shades of Girl Boss yet. I mean, it comes later. Sadly, for me, it did. But she did take an ass kicking at different points. So it wasn't total Girl Boss. She was heavily plot armored, but it wasn't Girl Boss shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't awful. But the first 10 minutes are good. The setup to the discount empire coming to not Gamora from Avengers, Homeworld, and rifling all her stuff up. Like all that stuff was good. I was getting shades from not Christoph Waltz's character from Inglourious Bastards as the leader of the bad guys. It's like, oh no, I'm just here to check things out and see how things are going. Everything's
he was badass for that war.
He just slapping bitches. It was good. 10 minutes are good. Everything after that, dude, was laughably pointless. The putting together, because I just rambled for a minute, the putting together party stuff was embarrassing, dude. It's like and this isn't like a DEI checkbox rant that I'm about to have here. This is literally a checkbox of Dungeons and Dragons genre tropes. It's like they went from planet to planet and literally fetch quested one of each class that also happened to check a diversity box anyway for good measure. And I would argue a couple of them bordered on being racially insensitive anyway. Why does the Japanese chick have to be a master swordsman? Why? Why does the one guy with a little bit of skin color have to be the Beast Rider? Why? Why is that a thing? Which one of us is
the tamer?
Dude, seriously. And the general they recovered, could they have lifted that character more directly from the Spartacus show? Animeus, anybody? That's basically who he was. I'm down on my luck. I'm dishonored, so I'm just trying to die in the pits.
Yep.
Verbatim, that's that character from the Spartacus show from was that HBO? I think back in the day.
Yep,
or Stars. No, it was Stars. It was Stars for sure. Yeah, for sure.
They're all the same.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they lifted that character. They lifted not Gamora as the lead here. She's taken in by the conquering traitor to like her people as her homeworld is being exterminated. And because she almost kind of sort of almost killed him, like her gun jammed or whatever, like when they run through that one scene, he just scoops her up and you're adopted now, not Gamora. I'm like,
you have the warrior gene.
Right. And everything's balanced. He's got the fucking pen blade on his hand. Like, come on. Dude, we've seen everything here. Everything after that 10-minute mark, you've seen. And I think that's what's most disappointing. But I just went off. Dude, give us the story rundown for folks that might be casually familiar with the genre and might want to see this. Because I think some people would like it. Honestly, I do.
So it's a space opera, because by the definition of space opera, it is a journey in space that has a multi-cast of characters. So it meets the requirement for space opera. You have the dishonored warrior who she did something in her past, and now she's on the run, and she living her life in a farming colony on a moon of a much bigger planet.
At the edge, way edge of civilized
colonized
space.
space.
Yes. Yep. Important.
Yep. You have what they call the mother world,
Yep.
which is the first world to get faster than light technology, apparently, and then they went and colonized space and became pretty much like an empire because they burned through all their resources on their own planet. So they had to go find new resources elsewhere to maintain the life and power of the king. The king was supposed to be humbled, but the last one was assassinated, and that's what they refer to as the assassinated king. They killed him, his queen, and his daughter, who was supposed to be the new compassion for the galaxy.
Now tell me about the daughter before you move on, because she was the girl. She was supposed to be the girl that was key to everything.
She has Force. She has the
no, whoa, no, it's not. No, it's not the Force. It's the energy or something. You're gonna get a suit. Totally not the Force. Totally not. It's like the shinning thing from The Simpsons. You're gonna get a suit. Like no, dude, not the Force. Totally not the Force.
She has the Seuss.
Oh, okay, there you
go. And she could bring dead things back to life. Yep. That was the one show of her power in this. In a flashback, why the dishonored tells her story to the farmer
in a 15-minute long flashback at the 45% point of the movie.
Now, let's talk about this movie. This movie has a 2 hour and 15-minute runtime.
For sure.
And there's a second part coming, and you can definitely tell that they wrote this movie.
Yeah.
That it has a sequel. Now, I do believe they filmed both at the same time and cut it in the middle to try to bring that draw in, because it is on a streaming service like Netflix, and memberships is how they make their money.
And part 2 is coming quick, right? April, I think, right?
Yeah.
This coming April? Yeah.
I think so. The trailer's already out. They released the trailer at the end of this one, and now it's out on like every other like service. So you can go watch the trailer of the new one, Rebel Moon, Stargiver.
That's the okay. So this is, I don't like titles like this either. So this movie we watched is Rebel Moon Part 1, Child of Fire.
Child of Fire.
Next April we're getting Rebel Moon Part 2, Scargiver. Like, dude, stop, Zack Snyder. Yeah. That's like Man of Steel, Dawn of Justice, Rise of. Dude, just stop. Just fucking Rebel Moon Part 1. And you shouldn't have even called it that. You should have called it Rebel Moon and hoped this got enough traction to get you Part 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you're right. If they filmed this back to back, they were getting both of their parts. It's probably part of his deal.
I think that was part of the deal, that it would be a 2-part, because I think he wrote it as like a 6-hour movie.
Yeah.
And then they decided to make it a 2-parter to see if it would draw more people in for memberships. So he already has his deal, and it's going to be released. So if it just memberships, it just memberships. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Did you hear the BS that's going around about how there's some speculation that the cut we got on Netflix is purposefully watered down because they're trying to inorganically create a wave of interest in the Snyder cut for Rebel Moon Part 1? Have you heard any of this stuff? I think this is laughably hysterical.
Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like when Zachary Snyder had to walk away from the Justice League movie at the very end, and they brought in Joss Whedon, who reshot a whole bunch, and then changed the story, and then bringing Zack Snyder back in to do his cut of the movie, which I do say is better, even though it's waited longer.
Oh yeah, I agree. I would agree with that.
I liked how he made the Flash not a wimp in Justice League, but we're not here to talk about Justice League.
Yep. Get back. Got it. Yep. So. Yeah, I got it. Did you have more on where we're going with the just like the overwhelming familiarity of Rebel Moon?
Yeah, you've seen the story, you've heard the tale. Now see someone try to do it with a budget of $166 million for 2 movies.
Which actually I think it worked out in the movie's favor. I think, because this is what we're talking about, getting back to like low budget, more modestly budgeted things. They managed to pull off a glut of visual effects in this movie. Some were hit or miss. I didn't think anything looked terrible. But there were definitely moments where I was like, okay, rendered a little rough shot here. This could have been smoother. The visuals, though, like his vision for the movie and what he wanted to take place on the screen, I think was effective overall. You know, ships coming in, the fight scenes, the slow-mo,
I think
gratuitous.
Little bit of it, you did see the LED screens, Like you
Yeah.
could tell, like especially like when they had the opening shot of her like farming and like the farmers from the back, admiring her from the far when they
Yeah.
had the actual shot of the planet that they're a moon of
Yeah.
in the background. I'm like, that looks a little too blown up. I think proportionally it looks wrong.
That's what I mean. You guys like us would see things like that, but if you put that on for your parents, if they were in the mood to watch something like this, they'd just be like, "Oh, cool! Look at the landscape shot of the woman farming, and then like the big planet in the background." You know what I mean? So I think the normies would be okay with that. I thought the spider thing that Nemesis had to fight for them to join the group. Can we talk about that scene for a minute? So your whole mission in life is to go around and collect people to defend a bunch of farmers from the Not Empire who are coming back to take all their grain. So you go to see this chick so you can maybe get her to join up with you. And when she's confronted with like a spider mutant robot thing or whatever, you all stand there and watch her fight one-on-one. And she almost dies like 4 times. Like she doesn't hand this monster its ass or anything. But they'll just stand around.
The farmer, the right. One who's not a warrior.
The unarmed one. Yeah, the unarmed one at that moment in time, by the way.
The pure heart. The pure hearted.
Yeah, dude, I was down on that character early, just because he's a big part of the catalyst. And we won't ruin that for you guys, like the setup for, because it is kind of visceral when it happens. I was down on that guy. They get to the first place where they meet not Han Solo. Every character in this movie is not something from something you know, right? They meet not Han Solo from Sons of Anarchy, and on the way to getting that done, some pig-faced looking son of a bitch in the bar grabs farmer guy by the nutsack and tries to buy him from not Gamora.
Isn't he wanted on? He has a death thing on like 7 different
on 9 systems or whatever. Yeah, dude, totally not pig face, right? So I was down on Farmer for being like the weak guy, but it was all in character for him. He was the farmer. He's not a warrior.
Yeah.
They're not from a warrior culture, so it was whatever. And he has his moments throughout, and then at the end, he has like a big hero moment that we won't ruin. But yeah, every character in this you've seen before, and everything in this movie just happens so that we talk about this all the time. Crap just happens so the next thing could happen with no obstacle, no pitfall, no drawback. You know, like not Gamora goes to the first planet. They get the not Han Solo, who happens to know for reasons the other 3 people that might be interested in joining. And then they literally go to these 3 places and then just get what they want.
Yeah.
The only one they ran a risk against was the Beast Rider guy, because they had to gamble that he'd be able to ride not Buckbeak from Harry Potter. Because, he was a hippogriff, honestly. A better looking hippogriff. The all black thing was kind of cool. But like, what did they do? There was no skill, there was no guile, there was no contest. It was just the guy they needed being the guy they needed.
Yep, and he had to be, and he was exactly who they needed him to be.
Right, but that's what I mean. It's one added layer of convenience on top. When they go to get the swordswoman, of course, she's the greatest swords person in history. Why the fuck would she want to join you scrubs? You guys are nobodies. Like, she's got a mission of her own, of vengeance, yada yada.
Yeah,
but like, she could probably
her
just
children,
right,
and
her clan and everything else, right? So I mean, like, she could just probably go do that shit on her own, but she's killing spider bugs in the only planet that has neon lights, and it just happens to have all Asian-looking people on it. Like, I don't know, every other planet seems not like only one kind of person. It's just kind of seem kind of odd here to anybody else. That anytime there's neon lights, it's got to be like a stand-in for Tokyo. That's kind of some shit. But, whatever. That's design choices. We're here to knock that. And then the same with the Coliseum. Like, she didn't have to go to the Coliseum and, like, best that guy in unarmed combat or prove that she was formally an elite. But apparently, just give him a bath. That was it. Give him a half speech.
And then play on his honor for revenge.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Maybe a flashback to that battle or something, his interpretation.
They banged that gong.
Oh, yeah.
Way too hard in this.
Oh, dude, I had a headache from that.
There's a thin line between revenge and justice.
Justice. Oh,
justice isn't revenge. Oh, if you don't want justice, then let's get revenge. It's like,
dude,
made up your point.
Dude, hitting that on the nose. That nose was wide enough to land like a Harrier on. That's all I'm saying. Like, dude, they banged that drum savagely. Like, they beat that drum like it owed them something. Just saying.
Yeah.
But it was just like such a weak sauce collection of characters that, like, even when they get to the end battle, I guess we'll give me a quick spoiler alert when we do this. Give me the woo. I'm saying, we'll just do it here, right? So, not Han Solo, sort of predictably, like, I still felt it a little bit. I've seen some of it come because I'm like, all right, this is a little too Han Solo-like. Screws the group. He's actually just collecting fugitives, which I thought was semi-clever. But we saw him
that
at
was
the
a good twist. I did
we
like
saw
that.
but we saw him eyeball the dude at the bar earlier that she also eyeballed. There was just like one alien dude walking out of the first bar, and she took special note of that guy. And then Sons of Anarchy, not Han Solo guy, also took a look at that guy. There was a quick shot of that. So once I kind of started, I was like, all right, so they foreshadowed it, but it did kind of give away the twist. He sells out the team. He gets got, which was cool. I'm glad he didn't get away because Farmer Dude handed him his righteous ass.
Yeah,
like that was it, dude. That was dope.
After he called him a coward, he's like, "You're
Oh
a
yeah."
coward. Do
It's
what
like,
a
all right
coward
then.
does."
Okay, cool.
Oh, was it it where they were the gun that they used to kill the
Oh yeah, the
cows?
pressurized head puncher
that's pretty
thing.
much what happened to this
See,
guy.
I'd say but see that whole thing. I'm like, I don't get it. Like they have this crazy technology where like they can dissect your brain and gather info from, kind of like the creator had that, like they could capture your last 2 minutes of consciousness. That was kind of a cool thing. That was cool. See, here I'm like, all right, so you can dissect King Z's brain and just get more info from him, but you have to use like 4th century technology to like get a wound to the back of the neck just so you can cut his head off, like it's a rabies test to check the brain. Dude, just shoot him.
It was to paralyze them so there wouldn't be any issue transporting them back. He said that.
Did they say that the actual neck break with the stupid cattle prod gun thing that paralyzed him?
He's like paralyzed them so they're no trouble on the way back.
Why not just leave him in the cage thing? That dude wasn't any. I was thinking of the first dude that they had locked up. He was like, "Hey, I'll make a deal." Dude, he gave him all the info. They broke his brain and he hit the ground and died. Like he was dead. He was not paralyzed. He was dead.
Let's go back to that scene where the guy was like who sold out the people.
The
first guy they have in
the robot cage thing. Which they stole from Mandalorian, by the way. Yep. Remember that was in Mando season 3. Mando got captured by something like that.
Then you have a call to Dragonheart where he's like, "You are free now." After he kills him, death is a release.
It's a reward, not a punishment. I'm like, get out of here, dude. I forgot all about that one, dude. That guy, that villain could have cheesed it up so badly. I'm glad he kept it at a level, I think, where it was eerie and sinister, and it played more or less okay. I didn't mind him. He was good.
What were your vibes of the Homeworld army when you saw them in their uniforms? You see their ships. What are you thinking?
When I saw the officers, I was thinking Warhammer mixed with like with Nazi stuff. Yeah, Nazi Warhammer. Yep, for sure. Dude, for the Emperor, I mean, I was thinking, but then that's the thing, like that, the Warhammer's on the list. There was an anime, I think, or an old Japanese movie that people mentioned a lot in all these YouTube videos. I think it was Battleship Yamamoto or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where they were like, this is somebody in a video had it. They were like, here's the thing from the original movie. Here's the thing from Rebel Moon. It's like, it's the same ship, guy. Like it literally looks like it's the same thing. Yeah, but for sure 40K, without a doubt. And again, I'll say the same thing. I think one of my criticisms about the creator was, of course, all the bad guys look suspiciously one way. Like they only put out a casting call for the bad guys to look like one specific group of people. The same thing applied here. When that party occupied the village, they left behind like 10 dudes. One of them was slightly right. One of them looked slightly different than the others, and he was the one that helped the villagers. And then we didn't hear from him again. He was just gone. The same thing with the robot. The robot, who I thought was a pretty cool design, voiced by Anthony Hopkins, which was dope. I love that.
Yep.
He disappears literally after like the inciting incident, and is just gone until the end of the movie. Like when they go back.
And that's probably because they weren't on the planet. That makes a little bit of sense.
Take him with you.
On the planet where he ran off.
Take him with you.
He ran off.
He ran to the village.
No, he didn't. He ran off into the wilderness.
Did he?
Yeah.
All right, fair.
Completely out.
Okay, fair, whatever.
So that
I mean, I guess you're right. He dropped the gun. Yeah, he dropped the gun and ran out of the barn. Yeah, you're right. Okay, free pass. But the kid, the guy in the military that was standing up for like the villagers, would fucking take him. He might know something useful.
He would have been an extra hired gun because you're kind of wanted.
That's what I'm saying. Right?
You just killed a whole platoon of shot troopers. Eventually, they're going to have to check in. They have communication.
See, and this is where it kind of all falls apart. And I know, like, even when we watch our classic stuff that we like, there's plot holes, or not plot holes, but things that you have to overlook. That way you can make things work. But that's a big one, dude. Like they left a group to occupy a space for a reason. They wanted resources. Yep. Of course they're checking in. If they have FTL travel, this isn't like if we left like a landing party at Plymouth Rock in the 1500s and then went back to Britain. You know what I'm saying? Like where the comms would take like a year to get back and forth. Like they're beaming shit via subspace or whatever Star Trek ripoff they have to check in. But no, they smoke 10 guys and they go. And all 10 guys cartoonishly, laughably, including the CO, the commanding officer, laughably villainous. I'm like, no, you get to have your one creepy, rapey guy, but then the CEO needs to like smack that dude up to maintain order because that's how a unit would work in that situation. I mean, like in Braveheart had the one creepy, rapey dude that set off the whole war, you know? But like if his battalion commander or whatever had seen that shit, he'd have probably been, listen, these guys got a rough reputation. We probably don't want to poke that bee's nest kind of thing. Like, where was that guy here? It was just cartoonishly too simple. The villains felt too simple here.
And I think they had to do it that way because they needed a reason the whole squad got wiped out so they could go and start the quest.
I guess that's fair. You can't leave them alive.
All evil.
Yeah.
But minus the one. The thing I did like about this, it wasn't a human who took that last shot. It was the robot that took the last shot.
Yep. And that's why he dropped the gun. And that's why he dropped the gun and bailed. Right.
Yeah, because
he realized he was acting on orders.
Their arms after the king was assassinated.
Yep. Dude, which I thought was cool. So these are AI. This is like AI with like a conscience. They're complicated. They have. I mean, I don't want to use the word soul in the situation, but like. They have a sense of right from wrong. They had an oath. They believe in a code of honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wanted more of that character. I'm like, this is the most interesting dude in this movie.
And I think he has a bigger role in the second movie.
It has to.
Watching the trailer and then the end credits where you have to see him again with the antlers. I think he has.
Yeah, that looked cool. So that looked real. That was cool. Again, Snyder with some visual ideas, very cool. But everything that story beats is shit I've seen before. Interplugged with like slow motion and battle and like nothing else, dude. It's like it's an all you can eat buffet of like crappy appetizers almost. Like you'll get full, I guess, but
one other good thing I did like about this was in the final battle that not all the collected warrior bugs survived.
Well, I mean, the only one that didn't survive was the last guy that showed up, and his sister's still out there. And we're still on spoiler alert. So, I mean, that was okay. Dude, that was Ray Fisher from the DCEU. So, I mean, I guess he was true to his word. He would work for Zack Snyder again, which was cool, given the fallout of the DCEU with Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher both. That was cool. Dude, I called that on the way, too, to go to pick up the Blood Axe siblings as warriors. I'm like, okay, which checkbox is missing from this diverse group of adventurers? And I was like, okay, I know who's coming here. And then sure as shit, dude, it's these two and the girl's the kind of the boss. They're a bit more balanced. She just happened to like take like I think like a leadership role at first. But I thought he was okay. But again, all that comes so quick. And like one of the common criticisms I was hearing, and I agree wholeheartedly, is we meet that character. He's good. Fisher turns in a decent performance. He's not loud. He's not over the top. He seems like he's got a charismatic grasp on his followers. They're down for him. He's down for them, you know. He's got the sense of honor. Hey, these guys risked everything for us. We need to if we're not stepping up for them, then what's the point?
Yeah, what's the purpose of a rebellion
if you're not going to protect the farmers, right? Exactly. So we meet him, and again, we're still running the spoilers. He dies, and the person that mourns him is somebody that we met 30 seconds after him, where she's all like, ah! Like the one totally not, you know, non-binary or something. I'm joking, but it's kind of clear, right? So we've only known these people for 52 seconds, and they tried to give you like the shocking Han Solo Force Awakens death, where you're like, you didn't see it coming, and now Chewie's erupting in anger because Han Solo shockingly died. You know what I mean? That resonates. That punches. You're like, oh shit. These two, I don't remember his name. You know what I mean? I remember his Blood Axe. He had a first name. I don't remember it. Couldn't tell you. Don't remember the chick that was mourning him. Don't remember his sister's name. And you want to talk about
the first person who came, like when he asked for volunteers,
when she stepped forward, right?
She was the first one to step forward.
And they used some wise dialogue there, where he was like, "Why doesn't it surprise me that it would be you?" And she's like, oh, somebody's got to make sure you don't screw it up or watch your back. I'm like, okay. So they wisely
you come
used
back in one piece.
Right. But I'm saying, so the dialogue used there was wise. You know what I mean? It was effective. But dude, let's talk about, because I know that this is going to crack you up because you're into the military, sci-fi, fiction-y kind of shit, right? So, Cyborg is watching, the trap is sprung. There's a not Empire ship or station or embankment or whatever where they're meeting, right? It turns a turret on. Oh, it was a ship. It turns one of the
turret.
It turns a massive gun turret on them. So he goes all, get this for a deep cut reference. He goes all, oh shit, now I can't think of his name. What the hell is the actor's name? He's in all the Lincoln commercials, good looking dude. Matthew McConaughey. He goes all Matthew McConaughey, Rain of Fire, runs up a broken piece of wreckage and tries to spear through the cockpit of an interstellar FTL equipped spaceship to kill the gunner, right? Misses, which was cool, right? It goes through, but the guy ducks out the way, pulls the sidearm, shoots him. He gets a little bit of a death scene, but not before he gets the second attempt and kills him. So because you killed a turret gunner, somehow that turret controlled the entire attitude control of the ship and caused it to crash.
Control down, and the whole thing started coming down.
Dude, I don't know. It's just me, but I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. Dude, if it was 1945 and a flat cannon hit like the, I don't know, like the tail gun of a B-42 or B, whatever the number is, like the flying
17,
B, whatever it was, right? If you hit the turret, does the plane go down? Is that how that happens?
You get the ball gunner on the bottom.
This is what I'm saying. That's what I mean, right? Dude, like if the TIE fighters strafing the Millennium Falcon on the escape from the Death Star had strafed one of like the quad cannons they were shooting, does that mean Chewie crashes the ship? Like, I don't get it. And they sold this moment hard, dude. It went slow-mo, full tint, Star Destroyer crashing into the Death Star kind of thing. And then literally everybody below them lives to watch this happen. And I'm like,
they literally just watched.
They're 30 feet away. It's like, dude, if you wound up with a baseball, you could have thrown and hit accurately the point where the ship hit the two ships intersected on impact. It was not far. And so they all live. Literally, they all live. And then we get to the last part of our takedown. Of course, Nakamura has to go hand-to-hand combat with not Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards. What did you think of the fight up there on the pedestal? Any criticisms?
I thought it was predictable.
Yeah.
If she's supposed to be she was a great warrior. She was the personal bodyguard.
They set that up.
The princess.
Yep, they set that up.
I think it lived up to what it should have been between the Admiral and her. I mean, you didn't see her not winning this fight because there is a part.
Clearly. And I was going to give it its props also.
She did took some good punishment.
That's what I was going to say. She didn't get up there and like Black Widow this dude, because he's also, by this point in his career, we're probably understanding that he's also a decorated soldier and can handle himself. Like if he's leading from, if he's leading from the front too, what I'm saying, but he's leading from the front also, just like the guy we know to be king also led his forces from the front. Regent, whatever, emperor, regent, vicar, viceroy, prince, steward, take it back, right? So we knew he could probably throw hands. And like you said, it's not like she one-punched him into oblivion. Now, the part I love most is they have the brawl. He falls, I don't know, farther than Gandalf fell through fire and water.
It wasn't that far. It was about 50 feet.
Dude,
it was about 50 feet.
He fell at least as far as Captain Phasma did in TLJ into the fire. That's all I'm saying. He fell. And he hit some hard shit at the bottom. He hit all cotton candy at the bottom. Right?
No, he hit a rock.
You know what I'm saying? Like, rock. That's what I'm saying. So he's all laying there all broken up. And the movie should have ended before this point, because this is where it gets into like Revenge of the Sith territory. You know, the rescue team comes in, and the minute you see the stretcher flying down, you're like, okay, yup, here we go.
Well, you know, he was a little bit different than everyone else when he had the steam things putting into him during that really weird scene.
Weird. And that was the pinnacle of crap effects in the movie, by the way. The black tentacle-y thing that he was all like having a moment with.
Yeah, having a weird moment. That's a little weird of this channel. A moment.
Yeah. Moment with a little weird. They did some weird Matrix plug his consciousness into the collective or some shit so that the regent back home can tell him, bro,
communicate with him.
Right, you made this worse. This isn't a victory. I'm either going to hang this chick out front of the castle or I'm going to hang you, go make it happen. And then this is the best part. I ended this movie on a laugh. They send him back to the same effing body. And he's like, he's standing up. I'm like, dude, you just hooked him up for the transfer. Like his limbs are they have to be broken. There's no back to tank situation here. There's not.
Now, if you wanted to do mental gymnastics, you could say that the fluid that they put into him was repairing the body. It is a futuristic where they could do nanotechnology.
Fine.
But there's nothing that explains it. The whole universe hasn't been explained, so you do not know their medical technology at this time.
Right. Which is fair, but I'll say this. If he's a cyborg, if the fluid helped him, if all that stuff is true, the next time he punches this chick in the jaw, it should break.
He needs to be more powerful. He should be. He should be leveled up at this point.
But not even that. If we're taking into account all that stuff, the first time they fought, he should have had a massive advantage in terms of power. And he didn't, like you said. He beat her down with that club, and then she shanked him with the broken part, which was kind of cool. I did think the one funny part in the fight that was kind of stupid. She got him in the typical Hollywood arm lock thing and went for the break, but it just bent in the right direction. I'm like, that actually doesn't hurt. Look, I'm doing it right now. No pain, guys. You got to actually do it the other way. That way you can actually make the sound effect and be like, oh, cringe, like it's broke. But dude, I don't know, man. I'll watch part 2 of this because we're going to do it just because.
I'm invested at this point. I'm going to watch part 2.
I don't think I'd ever watch part 1 again unless you were like, dude, you totally missed this one thing. You got to go watch it. But
I think I'll watch part 1
I don't like
the
it
day
enough.
before part 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Just to refresh
fair.
Stuff like that.
Fair. Dude, if you had to slap part 1, because I've been getting more of these kind of questions asked offline, can we change our rating scale to go to 10 so we can have a little bit more subtlety? So if we're coming down in the middle, it's not always just like 2.5 or 3. Like if we can gradiate a little bit more. So get on a 10 scale, where would you go?
I'll do them one better. I would do it on a 10 scale, and I'll give it a letter grade, like percentage-wise.
All right, fire away. Yeah, do whatever you want to do.
All right, so here we go. So if we're going 1 through 10, I would give this a 4.2. If I'm giving it a letter grade for percentage-wise, I'd give it a 63.
Okay. All right, so 63 is actually a D- in a letter grade, or is that a D? Straight D? Yeah, straight. Good. And once again, the Winter Wolf and the King's Ear probably right about on the same page. I had already had it set in my head 4 because I've just seen all of this before in other places that I've typically enjoyed more.
I enjoyed The Bud's Life quite.
Dude, I might go watch that when we're done, just to see. Dude, I give it a 4. The performances were all pretty good. The party building thing of NPCs is less than paper thin. It kind of detracted in a way. It was just one trope picked out of a book of tropes with no creativity to it at all. I don't think I saw anything super intriguing in any of the combat scenes. I'm a big fan of like the shootout kind of scenes, not necessarily the hand-to-hand stuff.
I did like the hand-to-hand in the barn shootout scene, the opening.
That was okay. Dude, that might have been the best one because I think in my head, the one at the end is the one that stands out just because not the one-on-one, but I mean the brawl after they all get freed but it's all a lot of plot armor, slow-mo. Literally nobody on either side can land a shot. Like I saw no bad guys get shot either.
The stormtrooper.
I mean, but both sides, like the rebels were no better either here. The only one that could land a shot was the chick. Which is fine because again, she was the captain of the elite guard and personal protector. They've already baked in some stuff to her, so I'm not going to go Mary Sue until she takes 8 shots and shrugs them off. You know what I mean? So I'm not there, but I'll give it the 4. Letter grade, dude. Yeah, dude, D or D plus. Like you can't get a high score for repurposing other people's work, regardless of how well you do it. Like if we did our own Infinity War movie tomorrow and it was okay. Like it shouldn't be rated as high as Infinity War. It just shouldn't be. It's not fair.
Fan fiction is still fan fiction at the end of the day.
And dude, this is professional fan fiction. That's going to be the stance of the channel on Rebel Moon Part 1. Professional fan fiction. Dude, that's all I got for today. Why don't we go ahead and wrap this up and you can read us up out of here because I appreciate you doing Rebel Moon on short notice.
All right. Well, thank you for sticking with us as we review the Netflix release of Rebel Moon, Child on Fire. If you want to check out some of our other videos, go ahead and hit the channel up. We got some reviews on the new Percy Jackson going on.
Very good.
We went and gave a look at the Return to Oz and a few other ones here recently that we talked about. But if you do like what we did today, give us that thumbs up because it does help us on the algorithm. Get our videos out there so other people can see.
Yes,
Hit that
yes.
subscribe button if you haven't so you don't miss anything that drops. Hit that notification bell so you know exactly when new stuff drops. And with that, we have to say goodnight.